You ever notice how being the good person always costs you the most? The sleepless nights, the fake apologies, the guilt for things that were never even your fault. You give, they take. You forgive, they repeat. And somehow the world claps for them, while you bleed quietly. Here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Being good might be the reason you keep losing. Friedrich Nietzsche once hinted at something dangerous. He believed what we call goodness isn't always pure. Sometimes it's control in disguise. Let's break the illusion. From childhood, you were taught one rule. Be good, and life will reward you. But look around. Why do the most selfless people get walked over? Why do manipulators climb higher, while the kind ones get ignored? Nietzsche called this slave morality, a system that rewards obedience, humility, and self-sacrifice, not because it's noble, but because it keeps people easy to control. In other words, you weren't trained to win. You were trained to behave. And the cost? It's not just exhaustion. It's the slow death of who you really are. Every time you suppress your anger, every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you stay quiet to keep the peace, you lose a piece of yourself. You become polite, agreeable, safe. But here's the problem. The world doesn't reward safe. It rewards self-respect. And the moment you start changing, everything shifts. You stop over-explaining. You start saying no. You choose yourself for once. And suddenly people say, "You've changed. You're selfish now. You're not the same anymore." No, you just stop being easy to control. And that makes people uncomfortable. Because predictable people are easy to manipulate. But once you become unpredictable, calm, firm, you become difficult to use. Now here's where it gets deeper. Nietzsche didn't say stop being good. He said become whole. A complete person doesn't just have kindness. They have strength. They have boundaries. They have controlled anger. They have the ability to say no and mean it. Because a harmless person isn't good. They're just harmless. Real goodness comes from power, from having the ability to hurt someone, but choosing not to. That's strength. That's real virtue. Now let's hit the part most people avoid. The world does not owe you anything for being good. No one owes you loyalty because you were loyal. No one owes you kindness because you were kind. If your goodness depends on recognition, then it's not goodness. It's performance. And that's why so many good people feel empty. Because they're not living their truth. They're acting out a role. Here's the shift. Stop being good for approval. Start being good because it aligns with who you are. Not because you're afraid of rejection. Not because you're scared to lose people. Not because you were taught to shrink yourself. Because here's the uncomfortable reality. Sometimes being good is just fear in disguise. You stay quiet because you fear conflict. You overgive because you fear being unloved. You tolerate disrespect because you fear being alone. That's not goodness. That's self-betrayal. Real goodness comes from freedom. The freedom to walk away. The freedom to say no. The freedom to choose yourself without guilt. So let's make this clear. You don't need to become cold. You don't need to become heartless. You just need to become strong. Be kind, but not naive. Be generous, but not available to everyone. Be patient, but never tolerate disrespect. Because goodness without strength is not goodness. It's surrender. And the longer you keep surrendering, the more you'll wake up feeling like a stranger in your own life. So stop trying to be liked. Start trying to be real. Because real goodness doesn't drain you. It strengthens you. And when your kindness comes from power instead of fear, that's when everything changes. That's your everyday reality check. Insight isn't optional, it's necessary. Subscribe to Everyday Reality Check because someone had to say it.